what an exciting time of year to be here in the quarterfinals. The month of May, lacrosse at this time. There's certainly pressure, but we talk a lot about pressure here, and we turn around into, obviously being a privilege, but really enjoy it, squeeze it, and it's fun. This is what we work all year for. This is what you dream about as a kid, to be in playoff lacrosse in front of a big crowd. Love that we're going to upstate New York. Being from Syracuse myself, the lacrosse fans up there are passionate. It's right next to the Haudenosaunee, where the game was born, played for the creator. To be in that environment, it's like a dream come true.
It's almost a unique rematch, playing them in 2021, same round, same state, but there's a lot of different players, but also some players that you recognize from other ACC teams. So, how has that changed the way that you've been able to prep or adapt for this game?
Certainly. I look back to my notes from 2 years ago after playing Georgetown, and while there are a few similarities, the defensive slide scheme, some of the clearing, all the players, well, I shouldn't say all the players, but a lot of the players, a lot of the key components are different. Kevin Warren and his staff have done a fantastic job with the transfer portal, bringing in some superb firepower at both ends of the field, but certainly offensively, and so we've got our hands full with Tucker Doorovich. We played against a lot. Ryan Minikis we didn't see a whole lot, but watching him on film this year, I don't know if there's anybody faster than him out there. And then supplementing with what they already had, certainly McDermott and Bundy and Haley. It's loaded, and then those North Carolina transfers as well with Kelly and
now I'm
Solomon.
Yes,
they are playing so well right now, especially Solomon is. So it's it's those notes from 2 years ago aren't as relevant as I would hope they would be.
Yeah. And that Doorovich he's a volume shooter. He likes to take the shots. How does that change, or how are you approach that defensively?
Sure. Well, he is somebody who's going to get the shots off. The stats prove it, and he certainly likes to come out early in a game and be very aggressive and set the tone. We saw that this past weekend against Yale. We had 5 goals in the first half, so he's going to draw a lot of attention from us. He'll get one of our best defenders. We're fortunate to have some elite cover defenders, but we know that one man alone, cannot neutralize Tucker Doorovich. So he will draw a lot of attention. The problem is you get too much attention on that one man, and then Minikis and the rest of them get rolling. So in terms of, we don't see a lot of teams with this much firepower man for man, and we play the toughest schedule in the country. And this is only adding to it here, playing this firepower from Georgetown. So it's gonna require a team effort, where sometimes we might play a little bit more individual based, win your matchup. I don't know if I want to just roll the ball out and play win your matchup defense against this Georgetown offense.
You guys talk so much here about playing on the final weekend of the season. Is there extra pressure in this game because you have to win this game to make it there, to kind of make things successful to outsiders?
Yeah, there certainly could be. Somebody could see that from perspective that, if Virginia doesn't get to the Final Four, it's a disappointing year. Because I know how we felt last year when we didn't make the Final Four, and I felt, that there was something missing, from the 2022, sort of feast in a sense. We didn't get the dessert there, and the Final Four is certainly a big part of that. But as I overhear me say, we don't want to focus on the pressure of that, and any type of pressure hopefully is the pressure that we're applying with our intense defense, with our 10-man ride, with our fast pace and our transition offense, and with our physicality on the ball, and then just squeeze the moment, embrace it, smile. We've been here before, and you want to relish these couple hours. There's nothing better than this type of setting.
The last time y'all faced Georgetown kind of gave birth to the Jurassic Park nickname for the
Yeah.
defense. But that was kind of when y'all were reaching your peak, because you said it takes a while for the defense. Can you see signs where they're maybe getting to that level that team was?
We are. Some of it is, you see it just with the data, with the number of goals allowed the last few games. And we have the comprehension, the cohesiveness of the team defense. We're really starting to get there. Now, again, this Georgetown team is going to really challenge us. Scored 19 goals against Yale. It's jaw-dropping, and so we've got to see if we can take it a little bit further up there, and we're still making some mistakes in our slide schemes. We know that, but what has really allowed us to do what we're doing is Matt Nunes. When you can start giving up certain shots and be confident that most likely it's a save, now you can be really more free with your defense and take away the things that we know are more dangerous and give up other things that are less dangerous. And if the less dangerous isn't going in, now the confidence in the scheme and everything really helps. So yeah, I do see the value of the defense of where we're going and the growth of it, and luckily the guy behind us, Matt Nunes, is making it look good.
I think you said during the exam break that you worked on clears.
Yes.
And obviously the percentage was good on Saturday, but when you went back and looked at it on film, did you like how you guys approached it and how they handled the clears?
I did. Yeah, clearing was important to us. It was shocking how many we had, but again, we won so many faceoffs backwards. And I give credit to Petey LaSala. Petey, like a lot of faceoff guys, can be very stubborn, and they want to go forward and get the fast break and score a goal. But Petey was willing to just, what they were giving him was going back. They were trying to limit our transition, and he took the ball back, got it to Nunes or Kastner, cleared it successfully while we're subbing out our faceoff personnel. That was a big sign, and we had worked a lot on that. And so that was a big deal. Now, what I'm focused on is, I think Georgetown might be the #1 clearing team in the country, looking at these stats at 92%, which is phenomenal. How can we do with our ride? Can we be disruptive to them? They're so athletic and they're efficient and they've got a really nice scheme. That's going to be the big challenge that that we're still trying to figure out. I don't know if there's a code to crack here. It's a good scheme and they got good personnel. So, but if we can get a couple back there, take something that they're usually almost automatic with, and that'll be that could sort of maybe hopefully unsettle things.
Is that a difference for Petey that you've seen this year? Because he's obviously made a name for himself with those goals straight off the face-off. Is that different, just seeing him kind of maybe play more of the possession game?
Yeah, it's different, and it's not just this year. It's only really happened in the last 3 or 4 games, because as we saw, sort of the middle of the season, he was pressing, he was forcing, and we weren't getting the results that we normally get with him. And it was like, how is this? If we should score 25 to 30% of the time when Petey wins the ball forward, why is it only 10% right now? And so give Petey credit, for understanding, okay, let's just say the possession is so key. And certainly with Coach Kerwin's offense, we don't need to take advantage of every odd man rush. We can score 6v6. So yeah, Petey's maturation is taking it to another next level. You're right.
How much do you tinker at this point? Like, I know we've talked a lot about Sean and his ability to adjust even in game, but even offensively and defensively, you talk about what you just said with the defense. Like, maybe we don't just roll the ball out. How much do you tinker at this point of the season with the record that you have and the success you've seen? Like, you've got a lot of goals on tape for other people to watch because
Sure.
you've scored a lot of goals. Like, how much are you still implementing new schemes, new attacks, to try and make it so you're not predictable at this point?
Exactly. We're always tinkering. And we were just up in the office for a couple hours as a staff looking at some different things that we could do. But it was like, let's tinker, let's not change.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to have all of a sudden new nomenclature and calls. Can we do what we do, tweak things a little bit to match up to Georgetown, but it's not confusing to us? Can it be different to our opponent, but not feel that different to us? And that's the key with trying to make these adjustments so that we're not confusing ourselves.
And the shot percentage stands out to me for especially someone like Xander. But overall, I think we've talked a lot previously about mid 3/4 of the way through the season, you want to work on shooting. He shot 57% on the 56 goals scored in the regular season. Like, do you feel like this team has a better understanding of shot placement, where they want to put it, how they're executing in that way? And does that all tie into what Sean's drawn up?
Yes, and it's evaluating shots on a scale of, is that a 1, 2, or a 3? And like, that's a 3. We don't want to take that shot ever, or only if there's like 5 seconds left in a shot clock and we need to put something on net. And so the shot clock has helped been a good metric for us to understand when's a good shot or where's a good shot from it based on the time and the clock. But what we saw in 21 was our team shoot the ball really efficiently. Our percentage there in 21 in the month of May was amazing. And with the start we had against Richmond, we're at a better percentage, at the 50% mark. So that's been a signature of who we've been in May. And it starts with Coach Kerwin, but obviously the guys are pulling the trigger. So what you're talking about is so key. As we start getting into these later rounds, into better defenses and better goalies and opponents, making sure your shots count. And so that was huge. I was shocked when I looked at the stats and we only took 33 shots. 17 goals on 33, because we usually get in the 45, 50 range. And but yeah, so shooting effectively, and it starts with Cormier and Dixon. They're so efficient.
Have you implemented some of those shooting drills that you added later in the season in 21 as more of a consistent thing throughout the season, or is that?
I see Coach Kerwin hammering a lot of those down.
Yeah.
And his specialty is inside play. He was an inside player himself. and I joke about this. Nick Saban still has his hands on the DBs a little bit. And that was his specialty. And Coach Kerwin's specialty was crease play. And so our crease action, our crease plays, is really well coached because of his expertise. And granted, what Xander and Peyton can do in there, and those are higher efficient shots. There's a better range. So just continuing to hammer the inside, and it's amazing, right? When that shooting percentage gets in that 40% range or higher, it's amazing what you can do.
We talk about Peyton around the crease skill-wise. Physically, though, he's able to absorb a massive amount of contact and still be accurate.
Yes.
And how much does that contribute to how successful he is around that area?
It's not truly unique. I met Cloutier from UNC a couple years ago, and there's been others, but it's so different that when you see that body type and you can cross-check him and bang into him, but he doesn't move that far, and he's not gonna beat you with speed to the goal, but he just wants to bang into you and run through you and get that swim dodge and roll. He's a matchup nightmare because the defender on him has to be good in the crease, but also can you take that pounding. Now again, Peyton doesn't really want to do a lot of that dodging, but if you challenge him, you overplay or you put a short stick on him, then he gets really excited. But yeah, that body type, plus if you're trying to defend him in the crease, there's a lot of shoulder and body to get around to get to check his stick. I mean, the one goal against Richmond, they were all over him, and he's still but part of that's a trust of Schallenberger and the guys that throw it in there. We're very grateful to have him.
All right, Mike, and then we got to run.
Xander talked about how supportive you were of him going in the portal. I think you talked about this.
Yes.
Why is that your approach? And did you anticipate that it would be okay and he would come back, or was there some concern?
Yeah, I don't know if I would have predicted this when the transfer portal opened up, that we'd be the school that's okay to go in and then come on back, and it's okay to go flirt a little bit and then join us in a month from now. But it's just the way it unfolded. It started with Patrick Birkinshaw, and we played Patrick during the 2019 playoff run in the month of May, and Patrick wanted to see what else was out there, and he had some things going on, and I said, sure, take a look, and so we set the tone there. And so when it came along with Xander and Peyton jumped in, like, okay, we've started a trend here, and I really don't want to lose those guys either. I'm not going to play hardball here. And obviously Mac Eldridge is in the portal right now, and I just talked to Mac and said, hey Mac, we'd love to have you back. I don't mind that you're talking to other coaches. I know your focus is here, and he said absolutely. It was all about winning it, the next 3 games. I'm glad the focus is there, but just know that we would love to have you back. So yeah, we were very grateful that when Xander looked on the other side, over the fence in the other neighbor's yard, the grass might have been a little greener in some parts, and he turned back around and saw us waiting for him with open arms. He realized that this was his family.
If I could sneak in one more, I think you told me